A comic and graphic novel haul. Hi, welcome to Garage Geek. So this is my comic and graphic novel haul. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I get my the majority of my comics and graphic novels, I buy them in advance from DCBS. So what's interesting about that is whatever they have in stock at the time of shipment, that's what I get. So sometimes I will get things from previous months that never came in. Before I get to the comics and graphic novels though, I want to talk about 2 CDs that arrived in the mail. So the first one is another in this Culture Factory vinyl replica series. So I bought Robert Palmer, Pride. I actually don't have this album. I would actually like to own this album because I really, really like the cover art. It should be common. I don't know why I haven't run across it before. I actually listened to it for the first time this morning. I got these last night. So I listened to it this morning, and it's actually really nice. For the first time hearing it, I really enjoyed it. So I think that the more I listen to this, the more I'm going to enjoy it. Now, one thing that I don't know about is it came with this white inner sleeve. Now, what Culture Factory does is they replicate the whole vinyl experience. I don't know if this one had an inner sleeve or not, but this is the second one or third that's arrived in one of these white paper sleeves. So if any of you actually have this album, could you check and see if it has a printed inner sleeve and let me know in the comments? Yeah, because I'm wondering if they just, at a certain time when they were creating these, they didn't include them. Also, it came in this sleeve, so it wasn't sealed. And the other one that came in this type of sleeve also didn't have that inner. So I'm wondering if there's something weird going on. Most likely not. I'm sure there's no conspiracy here to rob me of my printed inner sleeve. The next one I got, I bought it out of curiosity. I bought one of these from the company Avid Jazz, and it has 4 CDs on 2 discs. So I was curious about this set that has 8 CDs on 4 discs. I was checking online, looking at YouTube videos. I didn't do an extensive search, but I couldn't find anyone showing off one of these because I didn't know what it looked like. Because for me, the packaging is important. I do like this. So if you were to buy a bunch in this series, you would basically see their names lined up like that. And I think that would look nice on a shelf. That's all you get of the front album art. In this, even though it's really nicely packaged, there's going to be a disc, and then the image of that is on the disc. It's nice on the disc. It's nice, right? I wouldn't fault the packaging, but I really would have liked to seen the covers and the backs produced in some form. But these are budget collections. This was just a few dollars more than this collection. The problem with a lot of these collections is that the music is very similar. It's all the same instrument in many cases, so it blends together after a time because you're listening to 2 albums in a row on 1 disc, and so the music can not be repetitive. It's just that your mind becomes a little dull to it, I guess, and so you have to make the effort to pay more attention. These would definitely be better on vinyl because, for example, on 1 CD you have to listen to 2 albums, right? But on vinyl you would hear half of this and then have to turn it over, half of this, half of this, half of this. And so your mind would be continually re-engaging with the music. And not only that, but you have the physical album. So that is one major advantage, another major advantage of vinyl, right? It really does snap your attention back into the music. Whereas when you put on 1 CD, it just, your mind starts to drift after a while, especially like if you're doing something else like cleaning or whatever. Or editing YouTube videos, which is sometimes what I do when I'm watching. All right, man, did I already talk a lot. So we're going to go ahead and get into my comic book hauls. Like I've been telling Larry's Library, I've really cut down on what I bought. And right now I've been only focusing on, in my collected editions, just getting the epics. They've been putting out more and more of these each month. And so when you think about it, you're paying $26 each volume. and I got 5 of them. So that's over $125 in 1 month just on Epics. And then I got some, single issue comics, which I'm going to show. It's very difficult because I know Larry at Larry's Library, he is trying, to keep up with every Omni that comes out, and those are even more expensive. Like, right, they're at least double. They're like 50 to 75 each volume. In this hobby, sometimes it's just not sustainable unless you're wealthy. It's the same with vinyl, right? If you're trying to buy every audiophile release that comes out, you're quickly going to burn out unless you're rich. And most of us aren't. There was another spiel I went into. Sorry, let me just show my books. I got this Epic Collection, the She-Hulk, and it is the Cosmic Squish Principle. Now, even though this is from the early 90s, when I'm flipping through it, I don't remember reading these. The art, and I think the story is probably going to be interesting. Now, I see Steve Gerber's name, or Gerber, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but he's the one responsible for Howard the Duck, and I believe, I could be wrong about this, but Man-Thing and Omega the Unknown, and these are all comics that I was pretty interested in, and so seeing his name attached to this makes me want to read this more, even though it's from the 90s. Next, I got this beautiful Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos. I just love when this 70s stuff, and actually this is from the 60s. I love when we get this older stuff. Like, to me, this is comic gold, and this is what I really, really want to collect. And so this was from 1965 and 66. I've been looking through the art, and the art is mostly by Dick Ayers. I'm not familiar with him, but that art is really nice. It's very Jack Kirby. And so I'm wondering what the interplay between Jack Kirby and Dick Ayers is. But yeah, this art is really nice. It definitely rivals Kirby. And as I'm flipping through it, it's not as bombastic as Kirby art. But I mean, look at that panel. That almost could be ripped right from a Kirby comic. So I'm wondering, I need to find out what their relationship is. Did they work together at the same time? So we go from this really, really awesome book to this. Okay, so now this is just what I'm talking about. Yeah, this is 95 to 96. Look at that art. It's just awful. And when I flip through, I mean, I know some people love 90s art because that's what they grew up with in comics, but to me, it was just like the antithesis of good comic art. I'm just like, oh. So I buy it because I want the complete runs, and I will read this, and I'll probably, the story could be great. Some of the art is not bad, and I think you get used to it as you read it. That's actually pretty good. Look at that. But it's just like, that 90s stuff. Okay, the fourth one I have is Star Wars, the original Marvel year. So now I have all 6 volumes. In my Epic collection, I am missing a bunch of the early Star Wars. It's a huge regret that I have. When the Epic collection was first starting, I didn't have a lot of money that I could spend. And I just sacrificed Star Wars, right? Especially since I believe they were at Dark Horse when those were being put out. I'm not sure. But now I regret it, right? Because so many of those volumes are out of print and they're going for a lot. I just hope that at a certain point they'll have reprints of that material. But anyways, I'm happy that I finished the original Marvel years. And I really do need to do a read through. Now, of course, when I was a kid, I read a lot of the earlier ones, but by the end of the run, which is, well, they don't have the years on the back, but I most definitely wasn't reading it by the end of the run. So here we have my final epic, which is Captain America Fighting Chance. Now, this one is also 90s, 93 to 95. This one can be very iffy. And when you look at the interior art, it's just, again, this is around the time when I stopped collecting comics, so I probably never read this stuff. But I mean, look at that. It's just awful. And you're probably asking yourself, listen, you only have a little bit of money to buy comics, but then you buy epic collections of things that you don't necessarily like, when you could be buying something from another company like Image or DC. That is such a valid argument, but I'm going to say that since I've been collecting all of the epics, and you can see them. They basically go around my whole room. Two of the four sides, and they go along the whole top. Anyways, what they say, in for a penny, in for a pound. So now let's look at single issues. The first ones I'm going to show were free comic book days. So when you buy from DCBS, they let you pick the free comic. They have the whole list of the free comic books, and you get to choose which ones. You might say, well, that's such a cheat, because the whole point of free comic book store day is to get you into a brick and mortar store. And the only thing that I could say is, like, I go to plenty of them, and I don't necessarily want to line up with, 100 other people just to go into a crowded comic book store. I've done it plenty of times. I don't know. I think being able to purchase them online like this and get them with your regular comic service, I don't see why that's such a bad thing. But I do understand that argument, because had I gone to a regular brick and mortar store, I would have spent money on other things. So here we go. I picked this one up for my husband. So this is the Smurfs 65th anniversary. Like, look how cute that is. I got Marvel Voices, Tom Holland's Fright Night, the Aussie comic collector. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was out to get this on Free Comic Book Store Day because he thought that this was the actor Tom Holland. That was kind of funny. But it's not. It's somebody else. But that's a good story. If you haven't watched Aussie Comic Collector, basically he sits in his storage bin and he picks 5 random comics and then he just shows them off. And man, he's got a lot of nice older comics. Really nice. And of course, the modern ones, I don't mind seeing them as well. I got this Star Trek. I got this Conan the Barbarian, and it actually has really nice art on the inside. And then finally, I got Fish Flies by Jeff Lemire. Those are the free comics. For the rest of the ones that I bought, I'd love to hear your opinion on which is your favorite. So kind of tune in right now and like snap your attention back like we talked about before and tell me which one or ones is your favorite. Beautiful Alex Ross Doctor Strange cover, and that is the Dread Dormammu in a Doctor Strange outfit. Yeah, look at the colors on that thing. Gorgeous. Here is a Harley Quinn cover by Jenny Frison. Now, Jenny Frison is pumping out covers left and right. It doesn't matter. I still really love her art style. Like, look at the colors on this, the line work, even the shading, the background. Okay, this one, after I got it, I was like, why did I buy this one? This is by Kelly Jones. Right, there's the signature. Kelly Jones did a lot of, and in fact, I don't even know if Kelly Jones is a male or female, but he or she did a lot of great Batman work. And so this is like a return. It's a variant cover, and you can definitely see the Kelly Jones style on this one. You've got all these bats at the top, and then you've got this light illuminating Batman, and then the Joker hiding in the bell. Here is a Frank Cho Catwoman. Okay, Green Lantern #1. Now, this is basically just a guy standing there in a hood with the city background. I was on the fence with getting this one. It really is nice art when you... So the next two are for my husband. So I've been buying him the Looney Tunes and the Batman Scooby-Doo mysteries. And so those are for him. I picked up 2 of Wonder Woman. Now, I bought this one for my husband. My husband loves Wonder Woman in her dramatic poses, but I got this one for me because that art is stunning. Look at the lighting on this. It just feels like she's standing in a cave and there's a beam of light coming in. I don't even know who the artist is. Let's see. It might say it down here. I think the artist, it says it right there, but it's very small print. Raza. I've heard that name before with art. I need to start paying more attention to the artist. And I do like the fact that at least DC is putting the artist name on the cover now. We have this Vision. And that's the back of these, the Avengers. So when Marvel has a virgin cover like this, they just put that on the back. But to me, that's a lot of wasted space. It would be nice if they put the other variants or the original covers here, something like that. Okay, the last one is another Ross cover. This is Fantastic Four. Okay, and I'm going to end with 2 reprints. Gosh, I'm so happy that comic companies are reprinting some of these older issues. This is Iron Man #1 and Avengers #1. I wish that they had monthly reprints. And I'm not talking about the reprint series that they used to do, but I mean reprint, you know, where they would name it something and give an alternate cover. Those are nice too. But I really like that they're just printing them in they're called facsimile editions. And I just wish we wouldn't just get #1s or famous appearances. I wish they would reprint the entire, like just start reprinting the entire run. I would like to have an Avengers 2, 3, 4, etc. So what did you think of my lengthy haul? Oh wait, I forgot. I got an issue of Shudder magazine. Look at that art. These magazines just harken back to those magazines of the 70s. Look at that art on there. That's gorgeous. These magazines that are being put out by Warren, this one I already showed. This was one I got last month. I mean, but look at these things. They're gorgeous. So that's a Vampirus Camilla. That's Shudder. These magazines are so nice. All right, so that was my comic, graphic novel, and music haul with a couple of sermons thrown in for good measure. What were your favorites? If you have any comments, please leave them below. And again, like always, I want to thank you for your support. Let me finish my video. I'm almost done, okay? I'm almost done, honey.